Hey, welcome back to the Fantasy 15. It's your host, Steve Hoykla. I also got with me Mark Anderson, and I can't forget Flow School, Ryan Jones.
Let go.
So, hey, it's Super Bowl LX, and I'm just going to fix our screen here. There we go. And it's Super Bowl LX, and we got the Seattle Seahawks and the New England Patriots. Just first off, before we get started, if you guys haven't already, make sure that you're following us on X, on YouTube. If you do Spotify, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook, easy way to search for us is Fantasy 15 FB. Okay, so if you're looking for us, make sure that you do that, and you can see it on the ticker below. Again, make sure that you subscribe, follow, set your alerts so you're not missing any of our podcasts. During the football season, we're on every Wednesday, usually at 9:30. We might change that till 9 for our East Coast guys. And, at least a half hour earlier, right? But make sure that you're following us and support us. And then at the same time, go ahead and check out our new website. Again, fantasy15football.com. So if you haven't checked that out already, pretty cool things that we're trying to do with that website. So please make sure that you follow, subscribe, check it out. And then also we have what we call our fan chat, Fantasy 15 fan chat. So go ahead and check that out on the website. You can not only ask us questions on who to sit, start, and any of your trade questions off of a podcast, but you can go ahead on there on the fan chat. Also, you can talk to other managers. Maybe you want to get into some other leagues. You guys can collaborate, get together. So you can ask our advice, and you can get advice of other fantasy football managers out there as well too. So, and get some additional feedback. But again, make sure that you're following us. Appreciate everything you guys do. Make us your source for fantasy football all season long. Going into 2026, we'll have our 2026 draft kit ready to go this summer, I guess we'll say this summer as we get a little bit closer to draft season to help you guys out. All right, so we got a lot of different topics. Before I get into that, it's been a couple weeks, and Mark, Ryan, I'll start with you, Mark. How's everything been going so far for you these last 2 weeks and after the game and leading up? Just what have you been doing?
Life has been good here. Actually, I've been getting ready, as you can see with my lovely shirt. I'm in cruise mode.
So I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to.
I'm in cruise mode. So actually what we've been doing is on the ship for the Super Bowl, we are doing a bar crawl, a Super Bowl themed bar crawl. So getting little, football ducks that people like to put on the boats and football trivia. Of course, you have to do football boards when you're on there. So actually, that's really what I've been doing is focusing on, all right, let me get some football trivia going from that perspective so that we could give some gifts away, while we're doing that. So that's really what I've been focusing on. That's it.
What about you, Ryan?
Life is kind of crazy right now. Dealing with a lot. There's death in the family, so I'll actually be making my things. I'll be making my journey up to the frozen tundra from the south of South Florida all the way up to the north of Minnesota. So heading up to the Walker area, if you know it, north of Brainerd. So yeah, I'm going to lay my grandfather to rest, and it will be definitely some trying emotions, but we'll be okay. He was a great man. So that's kind of it in my life right now. But I'm excited to get up and see family that I haven't seen in quite some time. So that'll be good. I don't know how I'm gonna make it because I have no warm clothes. Like I live in South, like it's been cold this week. Don't get me wrong, but it's like cold here is like 40s, like mid 40s. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. So it'll be interesting. Like I own like 2 hoodies. Like that's it. So anyway, so if you got size beastly. And you got some extra clothes laying around that you want to donate, holler at your boy.
Awesome. And hey, so we get in to these last couple weeks here, and we're starting to think about 2026 a lot, and we'll talk about some different rumors that we've heard here as we get in this podcast. But the most important thing, obviously, is a Super Bowl. So we've seen some things leading up to this game. Obviously we got media week, and they're doing that piece, but as we look at these two teams and how they stack up against each other, we got to take a little bit of a look as far as how they got here. Both of these teams, finished the regular season 14-3. Mm-hmm. Now, as far as how they got here and what kind of schedules they played to get here, that could be in question. When we take a look at Seattle's schedule and who they beat this year, they had to play, in their division alone, they got the Los Angeles Rams that they not only had to defeat 3 times, they had to play them this year, and they had to play them in the NFC Championship game. Really tough game. But 31-27, they win that game in a fashion to where Sam Darnold's able to beat the team that really was a thorn in his side in the playoffs last season. And they get here, whereas you take a look at the Patriots, there maybe is some skepticism as far as, I shouldn't say maybe there is some skepticism with the New England Patriots playing a, seemingly weak schedule. There's been that graphic out there as far as almost all except for I think like 3 or 4 teams that they played this year, something like that. All their coaches, got fired for the teams that they played this year. And then when you take a look, and that was a regular season, but when we take a look at the playoffs, the last game that they had to play on their way to get here, we can say that they got lucky, right? With Bo Nix getting hurt in that championship game, they play that game again with Bo Nix. I don't think they win that game if they play the same offensively against that defense. I think Bo Nix can get a little bit better output than 7 points that Denver was able to do, even in bad conditions. But Drake Maye was definitely limited in that game. Didn't even exceed 100 yards passing, and they end up winning that game 10-7. Before we jump around to both games, let's just start with New England versus Denver and your takeaways from that game, and just what you saw from the Patriots. And Ryan, I'll go ahead and start with you and just what you saw from that game and what your thoughts are coming into the Super Bowl.
Yeah, well, first of all, I don't think the Patriots are getting quite enough credit for the season that they had. I mean, you play who you play. There's not much you can do about that. They did run through their schedule and the tough opponents that they did have, which was maybe most would consider not too many of them, but they did split with the Bills, who were obviously always perennial Super Bowl contenders. And they did beat Baltimore when they were trying to make a run for the playoffs. They beat some other good teams. They beat Carolina. They waxed Carolina, who made the playoffs. So, I do think that they are kind of getting maybe, I shouldn't say overlooked because they made the Super Bowl, but a lot of people are counting them out based on the schedule that they played. When you look at the Denver game, yes, I understand Bo Nix didn't play in that game and Jared Stidham is who he is. The whole second half of that game, I can kind of just put in its own capsule as a weather game, obviously that it was in the whole second half. And what I would really say is focus on the first half. If it wasn't for a maybe questionable Jared Stidham backwards pass, is New England winning that game? I don't know. They were fortunate, I think, in that instance, but I do think Denver had this year an incredible defense. Houston also, who they beat, but in my opinion, the Houston game was more predicated on where CJ Stroud fell short. than it was on Houston's defense not being stout enough, because Houston's defense was all over the Patriots offense the whole game. And Drake Maye didn't even look particularly that well in the first two playoffs games, because he was, he fumbled the ball a lot. So when I look at that Denver game, I look at the way Drake Maye played, and even with the bad weather in the second half, he held onto the ball, and I feel like he stepped up greatly, especially for a second-year guy. I don't know. I like the Seahawks overall in the game, but I do think that people are underestimating the Patriots. I would probably take the Patriots with the points, is where I'm sitting at right now on Wednesday. Will I be sitting there on Saturday or Sunday morning? I don't know, but that's kind of where I'm leaning right now. I do think that the Patriots are better than people think they are. I do think they have an incredible head coach who knows all the intricacies and knows how to be in a Super Bowl. Obviously, he played in many. And then they have Josh McDaniels as a head coach. I just think that the Patriots are going to be a lot tougher than most people are giving them credit for.
What about you, Mark?
I agree. I think the Patriots are going to give them a pretty good game. I go back to that Denver game, and even with Stidham, right? You talk about the backwards pass, but if Sean Payton would have gone for the field goal instead of trying, was a 4th and 1, 4th and 2, whatever it was, I can't remember now. In that first half, when he knew the second half was going to be bad weather, take the points in that. It's a 10-10 game, right? So you can kind of go, were they lucky? Were they good? I think it was a combination, right? Obviously. But I right now, I just watching May on those 3 games, it scares me a little bit. He's still a rookie. He's made some amazing plays. It's just a matter of, on the big stage, can he really step up? He's not really had to yet.
Yeah, and just with the game that was played, bad weather, albeit, both teams missed 2 kicks that could have decided this game. Even late in that game, Denver was driving before that interception that Stidham threw. They had a shot. They were late in the game. Denver had a shot to win it. I mean, I think the bad weather did play in the favor of Denver, especially when you didn't have your starting quarterback, because we saw it definitely limited Drake Maye's ability. And again, Denver has, probably the top defense in the league.
Yes.
Houston's there too, but the top defense in the league. And going into that bad weather game, that just, again, they put, even with Jared Stidham, they put New England on upset alert and almost pulled one out. So, I mean, they definitely could have got the W, and we could be talking about the Denver Broncos with Jared Stidham in the Super Bowl. But instead, it's Sam Darnold versus Drake Maye, and that brings us over to the Seahawks versus the Rams. So I talked a little bit about that game as far as kind of how that game went down. That one was more fireworks than what we saw in a defensive-laden Denver versus Patriots game. But talk a little bit about Sam Darnold, the Seahawks, and just what you got out of that game. Mark, I'll pass it off to you first this time.
I came away impressed with Sam in that game. He got rid of some of those ghosts that he was seeing, the payback from the Rams, season before with the Vikings. He played well. He didn't win the game, but he didn't lose the game, right? But it was solid. I mean, that's who he is, and that's what he needed on that team. I think, for me, the big difference was the muff punt, obviously, right? You kind of go, if the Rams don't fumble that punt, muff that punt, where are we at? Again, are we not talking Stafford, winning and retiring? Right. So I think both games had those turning points for me that it could have been either way, right? And so with Seattle, I honestly thought their defense would stand up better. I mean, the Rams offense obviously is very good at what they do. They play them twice a year. They know what to do and what will work against them. I just I don't see, from that perspective, that's really what I saw. I think Kenneth Walker, when he is running well, it will make a difference.
Well, I mean, we'll get into that, but Kenneth Walker, I thought he had a great game, really stepped up, and we'll talk more about that going into the Super Bowl. But Kenneth Walker, I thought, really had the game that Seattle needed against the Rams for sure. Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, no, I thought, I mean, I would have put large sums of money, and maybe did put large sums of money that the Rams were going to drive down the field with 12 minutes left when they got the ball and score a touchdown and force Seattle to go down and try to at least score a field goal to tie the game or score a touchdown. But they ended up turning the ball. They ended up getting turnover on downs inside the 10-yard line. I think there was maybe 5 minutes left on the clock for the game. Seattle got the ball back and was able to get a couple of huge first downs, which I was shocked with because they were super aggressive and they were throwing the ball. And that pretty much sealed it because by the time the Rams got the ball back after that, there was only like 20-some seconds left and they just didn't have enough time to do anything. So I was kind of shocked by the Sean McVay offense not being able to convert there and score a touchdown when they needed it the most, especially with Matt Stafford. That goes, and that kind of goes into my overall point, which is that Seattle's defense is, and yeah, granted they gave up 27 points to the Rams. The Rams probably had the best, most powerful offense in the NFL this year. Sure, they had a couple games, a couple downers against the Falcons and what have you, but I think overall their body of work was probably best offense in the NFL. And Seattle's defense kind of showed why they are, if not the league's best, right up there with the top tier defense in the NFL. And we've seen Sam Darnold even have bad games and Seattle's defense able to pick him up. So this Rams game, I think Darnold was actually very good, but the first time they played with the Seahawks lost, Darnold threw like 4 interceptions and they still almost won. And then the second time they played, I think he had 2 turnovers, 2 interceptions, and they did win. So, I mean, it just goes to show you how good Seattle's defense actually is and how much they're able to pick up, even if Darnold does have a bad game. Leonard Williams and Imenwari, the safety, that guy's a freak of nature, and McDonald, the head coach, knows how to use him in every which way. He came from the Ravens, McDonald did, and he coached Kyle Hamilton, and he kind of uses Imenwari in the same sort of way, where he's a big body who can fly around, he can step up, make run stops when he needs to, he can get after the quarterback if he needs to, he can drop back in coverage, cover his zone very, very well, and he's just a force of nature on defense. So anyway, it's really fun to see and watch the Seattle Seahawks defense, and I think the Patriots are probably going to have a hell of a time going against them.
So interesting stats when we take a look at these two teams and how they compare. The New England Patriots, as far as points scored offensively this year, they rank second in the league with 490 points. The Seattle Seahawks, on the other hand, are right behind them in third with 483 points that they scored this season. Now, when we take a look at the defense, actually the Seattle Seahawks are first in the league. They only allowed 292 points this season. So that was huge for them. But guess what? New England Patriots, pretty good defense this year too. 320 points. They're fourth in the league for points allowed. So two very, top 5 in both categories as far as points scored and points allowed for both of these teams. Identical records. So what's going to be the difference maker between these two teams? And I think behind the ears, we have to at first take a look at the quarterback situation.
Mm-hmm.
So between Drake Maye and Sam Darnold, these are their stats for 2025. Drake Maye had a 72% completion rate. He threw for 4,394 passing yards, 31 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Sam Darnold, now, he threw for 35 touchdowns last year with the Vikings. He only threw, I think Sam Darnold getting here, he's getting a lot of praise, which he should. But I would argue that he has had a good, not great year as a quarterback. Mm-hmm. And I think the stats say a similar story. This is just a very well-rounded Seattle Seahawks team. He had a 67.7 completion rate, 4,048 yards. So he's not a game manager. I mean, you threw for over 4,000 yards. That's significant. Seattle had a top 5 passing offense as well. And that's largely due to the weapons they have and Sam Darnold being able to complete those passes. But only threw for 25 touchdowns, and I believe he had the most turnovers in the league between fumbles and interceptions, and he threw 14 interceptions this year. That 25-14 ratio, hey, second-year Drake Maye has, considerably better stats when we take a look at the touchdown to interception ratio, which is surprising. He threw for more yards and he's more accurate. So when we take a look at least what they did this season, Drake Maye actually had a better season quarterback wise. But now, so let's just talk about these two quarterbacks versus each other first. And Ryan, you want to go ahead and take a stab at it first as far as what you see?
And the one thing that this stat sheet doesn't show was what Drake Maye was able to accomplish on the ground with his legs too.
4 touchdowns on the ground as well.
Yeah, the guy. I mean, there's a reason why he is a MVP finalist. Whether or not when do they announce it? Whether or not he wins it, we don't know. But he definitely has the stats and had the season to show why he was a top 3 draft pick in a quarterback class that may be an all-time great quarterback class. So we'll see. Darnold, I feel like maybe if you take away the 2 games against the Rams, he really only threw 8 interceptions. So yeah, he had a hard time against the Rams. He had a really hard time against the Rams last season also until the playoffs this year, and I think he finally overcame that I don't know, whatever it was, the curse of the Rams, and had a great game. But if you're asking me who I trust more in the Super Bowl, I would probably go with Darnold, just because of his experience in the league and the fact that he's been we know his story. We know where he's been, what he's been through, all the teams who doubted him. And I feel like he's got a chip and something to prove. And he has the confidence right now. And he has the confidence because he has the team around him to go out, sling it, and just have a good game. Drake Maye, second-year player, I just don't know. I mean, yes, great season, no doubt about it. I still feel like he's a little unproven. I mean, the Patriots getting back to the Super Bowl, Josh McDaniels as a OC. It begs the question: was Tom Brady just a Josh McDaniels merchant? I mean, people are asking. I don't know. Maybe if he could bring Drake Maye there. No, I'm just kidding. No, Tom Brady is the GOAT. But no, seriously, Josh McDaniels is an incredible offensive coordinator also, and it just goes to show you how much coaching really matters in the NFL as well.
Now, if you guys are watching us live, go ahead and chime in. Which quarterback do you trust more in the Super Bowl? Sam Darnold or Drake Maye? Give us your opinion. Throw in the comments if you're watching on X or on YouTube. We'll see them. But just please throw those in there. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you talking about which quarterback I trust more in this game. Yeah, did Sam Darnold have the better stats? No, but Ryan, you bring up a good point. He's got more experience under his belt. He has better weapons. He has better weapons than Drake Maye does.
Yep.
As far as pass catchers go. Now, Drake Maye has the support staff of having two really good running backs. And Seattle did too before Charbonnet got hurt. But now that it's just Kenneth Walker back there, again, they're hurt a little bit, but, better pass catching weapons as far as the quarterback position goes. I like the weapons better with Cooper Kupp, Rashid Shaheed, and then, of course, JSN that Sam Darnold has versus Drake Maye having Stephon Diggs, Hunter Henry, and Keyshawn Boot. Those are better weapons for Sam Darnold. They just are. So that, anything else to add on that, Mark? Who do you trust?
I'm with you guys. It's Sam and his weapons. And to Ryan's point, the X factor is Drake Maye and his running. Can he escape? Can he get that first down when they need, it's 3rd and 7? Can he scramble it, run out and get that 8-10 yards to do that? But I would right now I'm trusting Sam Darnold just to go out and prove that, why he was the number 3 pick and where he's at. I was going to make that same point as Ryan, as like, he only threw 8 against the rest of the NFL. Right, you take away those 2 games. Well, they threw them. They're in the stats. But it's, even though he was the overall leader in turnovers this year, I think he's learned a lot in that system and they've grown. So I trust Sam.
And you brought up a good point that I just wanted to add on to this, was when you brought up Rashid Shaheed. Was there a better midseason acquisition than Rashid Shaheed ended up being for Seattle? I mean, what a stud. This guy has just been making plays in the special teams, making plays on offense. I mean, who would have thought, right?
And not just, you brought up there at the end, the special teams part of it. Opening a game up with, a kickoff return touchdown. He has blazing speed, and he is that boomer bust kind of guy that we talk about with fantasy football. But guess what? If he's booming, he's booming. Rashid Shaheed has that game-breaking type talent to him, to where, he could crack a game wide open with one play. And I think when I think of his speed, I think of Deshaun Jackson. Just Deshaun Jackson was that kind of player, to where, if you let him, he's going to take it off the top and he's going to burn you. And Deshaun Jackson was one of those players, especially, we're a fantasy football podcast. Deshaun Jackson, he was a boomer bust type of player. He's not going to have 10 catches, 12 catches in a game. He's not going to average anything like that. He's going to have a stat line where, it's 4 for 105 and a touchdown or 2.
Ted Ginn Jr.
Yeah, I mean, those are the type stat lines he's going to have when he's booming. When he's busting, he had 2 catches for 29 yards, on his off days. But when he's booming, it's good. So, all right. So I mean, Vike says, I'm taking Sam Darnold. In this pick'em, if you will, between these 2 QBs. So we're all kind of leaning towards Sam as far as, who we're picking, I guess, that we would trust more in this situation. Now, as far as the defenses go, we start talking about defenses in this game and who we trust more. Who are you guys taking defense-wise in this game? Which defense do you like better to stop the other team's offense? Is it the Seattle defense that has a pretty they're pretty solid in the run game and the pass. There's not a whole lot of holes in that defense, but New England's got a pretty good defense, as they've shown this year as well too.
They do. I'm going with Seattle's defense, just because they're so good against the run, and they're going to go, all right, you got to beat us in the pass. The one concern I've got is the number of missed tackles you see them have. I think they were close to leading the NFL, if not leading the NFL in missed tackles. I saw that stat shortly after the Rams game. I was like, oh, okay, you can see some of that. But overall, I just think they're the better overall defense. It's hard to argue against Vrabel and what he'll come up with. If he's got that Belichick mind he's got 2 weeks to prepare for a team. I'll hedge my bet on that side, but I go with Seattle just because they're going to stop the run game and they're going to make Drake Maye beat them.
Yeah, and both these teams are stingy in allowing points on the board.
Yep.
As we talked about, I mean, they're both top 5 teams. Seattle's number 1 and number 4 is New England. So, I mean, both these teams are very good in not allowing the other team to score. And both teams like to score points. So something's got to give on one end or the other. Ryan, where are you at on defenses as a pick-em between Seattle and New England?
Well, Seattle has the bigger names. When you look at Leonard Williams and you look at Woolley and you look at Eamon Worry and you look at Dexter Lawrence, for God's sakes. I mean, they have the names that'll tell you should probably pick them. But Witherspoon. Beast. But man, New England's got just grinders, man. I mean, Landry, he had 8.5 sacks. They have Christian Gonzalez in the back end, who I think is a top 3 corner in the NFL. Really, he's an absolute freak. I do give the edge to Seattle, but I think it's the thinnest of margins, and the way that New England's defense played in the last quarter of the season and throughout the playoffs, you're crazy if you're sleeping on their defense right now. I think it's going to be a grinded out kind of game. I really do. I don't think that Seattle's going to blow them out like a lot of people think. But yeah, I give Seattle the edge, and Leonard Williams a huge factor. Guy's a beast in the middle, and it's going to be really, really tough for Ramondre Stevenson to get the run game going, and if you can just kind of contain Drake Maye in the pocket and make him and not let him beat you with his legs, which I think Seattle's defense is fully capable of doing, then yeah, I think that I have to give the edge ever so slightly to Seattle.
So between these two teams, if you guys are both playing head coach for the week, Ryan, I'm gonna say you're Seattle. And Mark, I'm gonna actually, Ryan, I'm gonna give you the Patriots.
All right,
I'm gonna give you the Patriots. Mark, I'm gonna give you Seattle. Okay. So think about this a little bit. Let it marinate. I want you to give me your offensive game plan and your defensive game plan of how you're going to beat the other team. All right. So think about that for a little bit. While you guys are thinking about that, I'm going to go ahead and plug us one more time. Again, if you're not already following us on X, on YouTube, Spotify, TikTok, Insta, and Facebook, you can go ahead and search us by Fantasy 15 FB on X and YouTube. And then, again, you just put us in the search bar, Fantasy 15 football, and you'll find us on Spotify, TikTok, Insta, and Facebook. And then, again, fantasy15football.com. Check out our new website. Check out our Fantasy 15 fan chat. Collaborate with other fantasy managers and, of course, ourselves for all your analysis and help that we can give you for sit, start, trade scenarios that you have this fantasy football season. And look for our fantasy football draft kit coming up this summer before the 2026 season. We have a lot of things that we're trying to plan and bring to you to make sure that we come locked and loaded with even more information to help you guys make your fantasy football championships in week 15 in 2026. All right, so back to the chat, back to the subject. I got Mark, the head coach for the Seattle Seahawks, and I got Ryan, the head coach for the New England Patriots. First, hold on. Let me.
Do we get to call the coin flip?
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I got a coin flip here to see who wants to go first on this. I don't have a coin. All right. Go ahead and call heads or tails, Mark.
Heads.
Okay, Ryan, you have won this. It is not heads.
I feel like it's already fixed. I want to see a replay.
That's all I had on me. I got to be better prepared. I got to have coins ready to go for this. But Ryan, what's your offensive?
I'd like to defer.
Ooh.
Oh no! Okay,
well played. What's your offensive and defensive game plan?
If right, let me start on defense. If I'm the Patriots, I'm gonna tee off on two players, and I'm gonna focus pretty much my entire defensive strategy on two guys: Kenneth Walker and JSN. JSN's good. There's gonna be safety help over top pretty much the entire game, and Kenneth Walker, we're gonna stack that box, baby. Kenneth Walker, you stop him short on first and second down, and you force him into obvious passing situations, and you make sure that JSN is covered. That's going to be my whole defensive game plan. If you're going to beat us, you're going to beat us with Jake Bobo, Cooper Kupp, and AJ Barner. And go ahead and if that's your game plan, then it is what it is. And if I lose because Cooper Kupp is Super Bowl MVP, then so be it. You guys deserve it. But my defensive game plan is do not let Kenneth Walker take over the game. Do not let JSN blow the top off the team. That's it. And I guess I should have mentioned Rashid Shaheed too. But yeah, I'm putting.
You can forget about him from my offensive side. I'm good.
Yeah, so he's gonna have a little one-on-one matchups, and that's fine. We're gonna be playing off coverage. He's not gonna beat us on a bunch of slant routes and out routes anyway. So we're just gonna make sure he doesn't blow the top off the defense. But JSN is not catching 8 balls for 169 yards, okay? And Kenneth Walker is not running for 130 yards on 22 carries. It's just not happening. Not with this defense.
So we're going to corral those two players.
That's my defensive game plan right there. Boxes stacked, safety help on JSN. I mean, that's the primary focus. There's going to be some exotics, but overall, that's kind of where we're going to be.
Okay, what's our strategy? We're going to play this a different way. So that's his defensive strategy. So, Mark, how are you going to counter with your offense with Seattle, knowing that Ryan is going to take your two players, your top two players, Kenneth Walker running the ball and JSN? That's his strategy, is to not those two players beat you. What are you going to do? Or do you still think that JSN's able to get his and Kenneth Walker's able to break through Christian Barmore in that defensive line?
Yeah, that's actually where I was going. Is I'm gonna be running Kenneth Walker, when I can, but I'm gonna be doing a lot of play action with him. Let him think that we're running on first down because that's what we want him to think. But my first play, I'm throwing it deep to Rashid Shaheed. I want to make that safety think twice, and then JSN, that'll free him up in the middle a little bit more. If it goes incomplete, it goes incomplete. Just stretch it out a little bit. Just throw it for as far as you can. Let him jump, run underneath it just to clear that out. But with that, Cooper Kupp's just going to eat up underneath, and we're just going to take that dumping game, and we're going to have those 14 play drives that just eat up the clock and go down that way. But JSN's going to get me a couple of touchdowns just because I'm going to keep him moving. They're not going to know where he's going to be on the field.
Okay, so Mark says the Patriots, Ryan's Patriots, can't contain JSN. He's still going to get 2 TDs. Mark, what are you going to do on defense as a Seattle Seahawks head coach to counter New England's Drake Maye and the Patriots that Ryan has, that he's coaching up?
I'm actually going to do very similar. You got to stop the run, which the Seattle defense been doing all year. They've been doing great. Keep doing that. Get that focus on there. You got to beat them off that line. I'm going to play a little bit of a spy on Drake Maye, not 100% spy, because I don't think the receivers for New England can really beat us. I'll keep Diggs in check, keep him, doubled, keep him where he is, because once you kid him in that first quarter and Diggs doesn't touch the ball, he's pulled himself mentally out of the game. So I'm going to beat him up and push him hard that first quarter. All legal, of course. There's no bounty gate on my team.
Okay.
But get physical with him. I understand that can rile him up sometimes, but sometimes it just takes himself out of the game when he gets frustrated. So I'm going to kind of focus on taking himself out of the game, and then we really just focus on not letting Drake Maye run for 120 yards.
Okay, so Ryan, he's going to focus on shutting down Travion Henderson, Ramondre Stevenson, and basically not allow Drake Maye to beat you or beat him with his feet. What's your offensive strategy as the New England Patriots head coach?
Well, I'm going to study a lot of the Rams playbooks, and I'm going to run a lot of plays to the weak side of the offense. So a lot of short edges. Use Dexter Lawrence's aggression against him. Get him running up the field and run underneath. I'm going to run opposite of Leonard Williams and just pray that you can't get me with it. I'm going to get Drake Maye out of the pocket. We're going to run a lot of bootlegs. We're going to run there might be a couple trick plays where Ramondre Stevenson might throw for a touchdown in this game. And there's just going to be a lot of moving parts. That's going to make your defense have to stay primarily in base, and because you're not going to know necessarily what's coming. I'm not going to play a read style where I have to figure out if you're in zone or in man. Okay, I'm not going to do a lot of worrying about the pre-snap stuff, and I'm just going to play off of where the players are after the snap. That's going to be the primary. I'm going to let my guys go out and make plays. I mean, Stephon Diggs is still a premier talent in this league, and he can still go out and make plays with the best of them. So I'm going to let him do his thing, get open. Booty's going to go deep. I'm going to shake my booty for some touchdowns, and we're going to get Ramondre and Henderson going in the screen game. There's going to be a lot of get them coming up the field and use their aggression against them. We know this Seattle defense is a premier defense. We're not going to pretend like they're not. We're not going to sit here and tell you that we're going to pound the rock right down your throat because we're just more bigger, better, and powerful when we have a center who weighs 225 pounds. No, we know what we are, but we also know what we're capable of. And we know that our defense is capable of holding your offense to X amount of points. In my opinion, probably under 24 points. And our offense is capable of scoring more than that as long as we are methodic with it and we take our chances when we need to. So that's going to be the offensive game plan.
All right, let me be real with you. If you're an NFL GM out there right now, I charge a 5% finder's fee. 10 head coaches just went out this last season. So as the agent for both Mark Anderson and Ryan Jones, please contact me at Steve Hoikala. That was pretty good analysis from both you, Mark, and Ryan. I love it. I thought, I'll be honest, I didn't plan that bit. That was kind of an off-the-cuff thing. And damn, both of you guys didn't know I was going to do that, and you crushed it. So I definitely appreciate you guys putting in as much in-depth thought into the I don't know. I maybe gave you 60 seconds to think about your responses, and yeah, that's remarkable. So there was your first interview as a head coach to any GM that might see this. They have the chops to be able to step in at a moment's notice if for some reason any of your head coaches go down, you need somebody step in for the Super Bowl. They already have their strategy ready to go to win. All right.
I got 50 years of coaching from my couch.
All right. Yeah. I'm not at 50 yet, but I got some experience as well too. All right. Hey, let's take a look. You guys crushed that, but let's take a look at our picks. So, Ryan was coaching for the New England, but he's taking the Seahawks. We're all taking the Seahawks in this one. And let me get rid of our ticker at the bottom. New England versus Seattle. This 2-14-3 teams, they're statistically very evenly matched. I think we talked about, all three of us were picking Sam Darnold as far as who we trust more in this Super Bowl situation type game. And we broke down the defenses. And I think both ways, I think we were kind of leaning towards Seattle, even though, hey, don't count out New England. Ryan I don't know if you had an inkling that I was going to make you the head coach, and that's why you went that way. And that's kind of why I decided to put you on the New England. You're already, pro New England, at least on the defensive side of the ball. But I think we're all leading Seattle, and I'll just start off first here. Seattle, I'm going with them for the same reason that, you talked about as well. When we talked about, who we give the edge to at quarterback, we said Seattle. When we talked about passing weapons, who has the better weapons? Seattle. When we talked about defenses, we were leaning towards Seattle. When we talk about, running the running game, I'm going to give that towards New England. I think New England has the better running game, whether you want to throw Drake Maye in there or not. Ramondre Stevenson and Travion Henderson, and their offensive line has done a fantastic job this year. Seattle has done a great job as well too, but they lost Zach Charbonnet. So it's, they get one injury to Kenneth Walker. They are in trouble. They are in trouble in Seattle. Walker does have a history of injuries. So that is something that could totally change this game. But at least if, he's staying healthy, we take a look at some of those things we talked about. Plus we take a look at the special teams and the ability of Rashid Shaheed. And when we take a look at the kicking battle, at least the experience and the completion percentage of field goals is also in favor of Seattle. So a lot of things weighing, and I think we're all kind of looking at that somewhat the same going into this one. I think we all talked about there was maybe some gamesmanship on, hey, do I take the Patriots to, maybe get you or tie you record wise? But I think, all of us are just kind of thinking, the same thing on that. Ryan, what's your take on, why did you pick the Seattle Seahawks?
Yeah, I mean, all the things you said, obviously I can reiterate, and I agree with. I don't know, man. I think it was a tougher decision for me than it has been for a lot of people that I've seen on these shows and a lot of NFL pregame coverage. I think that New England has two X factors that make it a more difficult decision. And their names are Mike Vrabel and Josh McDaniels. Just two guys that have experienced it, been there, seen it from the best of the best, two GOATs and Tom Brady and Bill Belichick over and over and over and over again. So I don't think you can discount that factor at all. But for all the reasons you said, Seattle's just got, I think, an overall better team.
And they're more well-rounded.
And the players play, and the players are the ones who are out there on the field who actually decide the game. So maybe New England has a little bit better edge coaching staff wise. But I think just because the talent and the players that I have to go with Seattle.
Mark?
Yeah.
Why'd you choose Seattle?
As you mentioned, the gamesmanship, I was like, well, maybe I need to pick New England just because. But it was the same thing. It's just overall, I think they're the better team this year, right now, right? When you look at the three playoff games, yeah, granted, New England played some tough defenses, but other than they kind of squeaked by some of these. It just it just didn't feel like they were clicking on all cylinders. I think Seattle had a little bit hiccup here or there, but that game against the Rams, it was a tough game. Somebody they play twice a year, they know really well. So I think just overall, they've just got the edge on that. Just they're playing a little bit better in my head.
You want to know the craziest stat of this whole playoffs?
Go ahead.
Maybe you know this. Not a single game played indoors.
For either team?
For any game.
Any game.
Oh.
Not a single game was played indoors this year in the playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, I thought the playoffs, for the most part, I mean, they were great games.
Yeah, some amazing games.
Yeah, there's some good games.
We definitely got our time's worth, if you will, watching this season's playoffs. I thought there were a lot of exciting games, storylines. So even though you didn't have Patrick Mahomes in the game, you didn't have Joe Burrow in the playoffs. We saw the Josh Allen storyline was in there. We saw Bears Packers, at least rivals. We saw rivals between the Seahawks and the Rams playing each other, trying to duke it out. You saw two teams with second-year quarterbacks in Drake Maye and almost Bo Nix going at it, trying to get to the Super Bowl. So you saw teams that you didn't typically expect to be in the Super Bowl make it all the way there. I don't think anyone was picking Drake Maye and the Patriots to be in the Super Bowl. Even early on power rankings wise, I think I know I saw some polls where the late teens, early 20s were where the Seahawks were to start this season. So, I mean, nobody was saying, hey, Seahawks are my pick to be in the Super Bowl. And just, here both these teams are. And just impressive stuff from both of these teams. Now, we're going to go ahead and jump in to some prop bets and some, different props that I was able to find on FanDuel just to talk about to see which ones, you guys kind of like as far as options that you would take if you're a betting individual. So we're not telling anyone who to bet on. We're just saying with these odds that we're given, which odds or bets we would make. So let's go ahead and take a look at them. So Super Bowl anytime touchdown odds, we see Kenneth Walker, native 195, JSN 110, Ramondre Stevenson plus 135, Hunter Henry plus 230, and AJ Barner plus 250, and Cooper Kupp plus 260. And again, these are odds per FanDuel is where I pulled these from. Ryan, do you want to explain the minuses and the pluses for everyone as far as what that means? And after that, I'll go ahead and let you select maybe one or two that you actually like off of this list.
Okay, sure. So, I mean, if you're new to gambling, I think when you look at, I don't know, best way to explain it, I guess, is to look at it as an example. When you look at Kenneth Walker, he's minus 195. That means he's a heavy favorite to score a touchdown because if you bet $195, you would only win 100, if that makes sense. So you don't it's not a 1-for-1 type of bet. They're saying that it's more likely than not that Kenneth Walker scores a touchdown. And JSN, same thing. If you bet $100, you're only going to win 90 because it's minus 110. So you take that extra 10 and you subtract it anyway, if that kind of makes sense.
So what
look
Ryan's
at Ramondre
saying
Stevenson.
Yep.
He's plus 135. You bet $100, you'll win $135. They're saying that he's not he's
not
more
as
likely not
likely
to score a touchdown than to score a touchdown. Out of this list, I really like Cooper Kupp. I mean, the highest odds, just because I think he's that possession guy that they're going to need in the red zone, and I think he's going to be a big target down there in the red zone. A guy that's not on the list that I would even consider if you like those real big long shots who we've seen score a touchdown in the playoffs is Jake Bobo. And, he has not many catches on the season. Don't get me wrong, but I can see a world where Bobo actually gets in the end zone. And look, he's plus 1,300.
I got plus 1,000 on my app.
So plus 1,000. So you bet $100, you win 1,000. Bet $100, you win 1,000. You bet $10, you win $100 on a $10 bet. So something like that might be something fun.
Not telling you guys who to bet on.
Yeah, no. Another bet I really like in this Super Bowl, which I've actually hit on before, is there's actually two. I don't want to steal it.
I have more.
Let me just say one. Okay. You have more touchdown scorers?
No. I have more different odds, but this is it. This is all I have for touchdown scorers.
Okay, so for a touchdown score, I like any defense to score a touchdown.
Okay.
So if you made me pick which one, I'd probably say Seattle's defense score a touchdown off a Drake Maye fumble. Maybe a blindside blitz. Dexter Lawrence comes in, strip sack, boom, balls out, touchdown.
So I'm gonna stop you there. So you like Cooper Kupp off of this list, Cooper Kupp, and then not on this list, you like Jake Bobo.
And defense to score a touchdown, yes.
And defense. Okay. Mark?
I haven't seen the odds on defense to score a touchdown, but
who do you like off of this list? I just don't want to spoil it because I have some other prop bets, so I don't want to get too deep in the weeds.
I'm actually because I was the coach of Seattle and I made the prediction. I got to go with JSN. Right?
You did say he was going to score 2 touchdowns.
He is plus 525 for 2.
There you go.
So I'm going with JSN for 2. So I'm going off script here, but since I made that one out there,
sure.
And I had thought about the Bobo one, but I hadn't checked what the odds are on that one yet. But I'll go with JSN.
Okay. All right. Here's the next set of bets and props that I have out there. Super Bowl MVP props. Who do you like off of this list to potentially be the Super Bowl MVP? Now, typically, that's a quarterback award when we take a look at the Super Bowl. So, you have a good opportunity, or at least the best chances, and it shows on here, that your Super Bowl MVP would be one of those 2 quarterbacks from either team. But Mark's saying JSN's going to go get 2 touchdowns in the game. So I'm just going to go out on a limb and say Mark's leaning towards that way. But Mark, I'm going to let you start first. Who's your Super Bowl MVP that you like on this list, and who's maybe your dark horse?
There's a dark horse, and I can't think of it. I thought about it yesterday, and I was like, I was going to bring it up, and I thought I was trying to pull it, but I was actually leaning between JSN and Kenneth Walker, just because I think Seattle's going to win, and I decided to go with the JSN just because I think he'll match up a little bit better within there. So I'll stick with the JSN, even though typically it's hard for a receiver to get the MVP because it usually goes to the quarterback in that scenario. But it just depends on how many catches and yards he gets. So I'll stick with that one. And even though he's on the list, my dark horse is Kenneth Walker.
Okay, Ryan.
Well, I don't think you're too far off base there, because the last non-quarterback to win Super Bowl MVP was Cooper Kupp, who had 8 catches for 92 yards and 2 touchdowns. Yet, don't worry, I remembered that off the top of my head. But also, if you're going back, excuse me, if you go back, whatever it was, 10 years ago, when Seattle won the Super Bowl, not the one they lost to New England, but the Super Bowl that they won, Super Bowl MVP was a defensive player. So if I'm saying that a defensive player is going to score a touchdown, in this case I said Dexter Lawrence, I do think that there's a good chance Super Bowl MVP, i.e. pretty sure James Harrison was Super Bowl MVP for Pittsburgh also. I would, and that's the point of Super Bowl. So. I think, and the point of Super Bowl, in my opinion, the point of prop bets in the Super Bowl is to take long shots.
Yeah.
So why not go for something that doesn't normally happen? Because when you look at the Super Bowl, that kind of stuff happens all the time. If you go back, 2 years ago, non-quarterback to throw a touchdown pass was a prop bet, and that was the first touchdown of the Super Bowl when CMC threw to Jennings. CMC threw to Jennings for a touchdown pass, and that prop bet, if you bet like $25, would have paid $1,000. So I say go for something big, go for something crazy. Don't put a ton of money on it because the odds are the odds for a reason. But crazy stuff happens in Super Bowl all the time. So I like Super Bowl MVP. I would take Dexter Lawrence.
For me, I'm with you guys on Jackson Smith and Jigba as far as I like that prop bet. I like the odds with it and the likelihood of that possibly happening because I do think that he's going to be targeted, as we've seen during the season, very frequently. So I do like that one.
James Harrison did not win Super Bowl MVP. That's crazy.
So the other dark horse that I like on here is Travion Henderson and Ramondre Stevenson to pass either one of those. So Ramondre Stevenson, he gets some carries, but it seems like they kind of go with the hot hand sometimes with these two. And when Travion's going hot, he's got the capability to score touchdowns. And, this was part of the game plan, right? Running the ball. And I do think that in order to have success, again, dark horse, and I think if New England's going to win this game, it's because they had success running the ball. So a dark horse, I would say, is someone that's not on this list. Travion Henderson maybe comes out of nowhere and has a monster game to win this. But as far as the more likely pick, I like putting the 100, if you will, on Jackson Smith and the Jigba with the odds. And, hey, maybe I throw one also that way, that $10, if you will, on Travion Henderson. I like what I win off of those odds, which, he's probably sitting at like plus 6,000 or something like that, plus 10,000 for Super Bowl MVP. I'm sure it's something like that. All right, let's go ahead and move on.
The last running back to win Super Bowl MVP, by the way, Terrell Davis.
Okay. Yeah, big games, right?
Yeah.
So you break out with that game, and I think he's capable of doing that. If, who knows? Ramondre, isn't having success, and Travion starts digging away and getting some carries in there. It's possible. All right, so here's some more Super Bowl props. So an opening kickoff touchdown return is plus 8,000. Any and this is why I was trying to stop you, Ryan. Any non-QB passing touchdown, and you were talking defense, but any non-QB passing touchdown. So let's just say, Cooper Kupp throws a touchdown to JSN, something crazy like that on a trick play, plus 1,200. Darnold and May, maybe late in the game it becomes a shootout. Both teams trying to, win this with points late. It gets a little bit slippery, and they both complete 25 plus passes. Plus 2,000 on that, and no touchdowns in the game. We talked about both teams having good defenses. I don't think that is going to happen, but with both teams having good defenses, and if they both have success stopping the run, possible. Both are top 5 in the league as far as points scored. Possible, just not very likely, and that shows with the plus 17,500. And Super Bowl score repeat from XLIX of the New England Seattle Super Bowl. But that would mean New England wins 28-24 over Seattle. So if they have the same score as that prior Super Bowl, you would win, at a plus 35,000 number. That's huge. And that's a likely score.
Yeah, that's not like a crazy uncommon score.
I don't think that. I don't think that's a crazy score either.
It's worth $20. Like, why not?
If they had that 28-24 the other way was similar, I'd be down for that too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
So I definitely like, Mark, what do you like off of this list?
I will do the Darnold and May 25 passes each to complete them. I don't think it will, But off of that, with those odds, that's the one I'll take.
Yeah, well, Vegas doesn't think they will either, but
right,
that's why the odds are the odds. Go for it.
As we said, if the score would have been the other way, if it just had to be 28-24, I don't care which team is which team for the 35,000, I'd put $10 on that just because.
If it wasn't for Rashid Shaheed, that opening kickoff TD return would be so much higher. That's plus 8,000 feels like it's not enough. But then they're like, well, if it gets kicked to Rashid Shaheed, you never know. And we have seen Super Bowls open and kickoff touchdown returns. Yep. Devin Hester did it back in the day for the Bears. And did Percy Harvin do it for the Seahawks in one of the years too? Am I mistaken on that? I felt like
that would have been
I might be wrong.
That would have been against the Patriots in this 28-24 matchup. Right?
Would it? Well, it could be that one or the Super Bowl that they won versus. That's
true.
Denver.
Yeah, he had an 87-yarder against Denver.
Oh, there you go. All right, so I personally, we all pick Seattle, but I definitely think it's possible for New England to pull this out. I really like that 35,000, that plus 35,000. I'd take a flyer on that. I mean, that's, I'd put $10 on that. And then, but I mean, my favorite one, I have to agree. I like the Darnold Maye complete 25 plus passes. I like that one probably the best if I'm thinking like which one's more likely to happen. But I like throwing 10 on that Super Bowl XLIX score off of this list. I like the opening kickoff touchdown return, honestly, as a flyer as well. I'd maybe put $5 on that, $10 on that, and see what happens. Again, we're not telling you guys what to do. This is just what we would, potentially do. And what we're interested as far as these prop bets odds per FanDuel that was able to pull off of their website. So I mean that's kind of the storylines. That's prop bets. That's our picks as far as who we like for this game. And anything else you want to talk about going into this game? I do have one thing I want to talk about.
Sure.
So being that New England's on the forefront of this, you had Robert Kraft finding out that he's not getting in the Hall of Fame. And we also found out that Bill Belichick is not getting into the Hall of Fame is in his first attempt into the Hall of Fame. Now, this is beyond egregious to me, as a first timer. You should be able to take a look at his stats and find that he is number 1 or 2 in all major coaching categories. He's number 1 in Super Bowls. He's number 2 in most wins as a coach. He's number 1 in playoff victories. You take a look down the list. He's number 1, number 2, and typically number 1 in all major coaching categories, division titles. This is a coach that should have been a no-brainer, slam dunk, just push yes. If you're a committee member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, taking a look at his resume. Now, the first time in their bylaws for a first-time, selection, and what you need to be selected is you need to have 40 of 50 votes. You need to have at least 80% of the votes. So there were at least 10 people, at least 10.
Well, at least 11, right?
Sure, sorry, at least 11 that did not, you're right, at least 11 that did not vote for Bill Belichick. So, Pat McAfee on ESPN, he's talking about how he went to different committee members and, how did Bill not get in? Did you vote for him? And everyone's saying, I voted for Bill. I voted for Bill. I voted for Bill. Somebody didn't, right? So, I mean, obviously no one wants to admit that, hey, I'm the guy or gal that didn't vote for Bill Belichick. And
I actually did read one article about one of the voters who did not.
I can't remember
the reason. I can't remember the guy's name, but basically the reason is they changed the rules for the coaches / the older players, and so they actually voted for an older player because their time, is running short, and Bill will get in next time. So it was sort of the tiebreaker because they changed the rules, and I can't remember. I'll say Roger Craig. Right. It was like he voted for Roger Craig. I can't remember exactly, but it was just sort of because they changed the rules on coaching getting into the Hall of Fame, including them with the senior members. He voted for another senior member instead of Belichick.
Yeah. Listen to this. I wrote an article on this on purpleptsd.com. Career record, 302 regular season wins. He's second all time among head coaches. He's second to Don Shula, who has 328. Division titles, he has 17 AFC East championships. So that's the most division titles in NFL history. Don Shula is second with 14. His playoff record is 31-13. It's the most postseason wins in NFL history as a head coach. Super Bowls, he has 6 championships as a head coach. He has 9 total, which include his assistant years. And 6 Super Bowl wins are the most in NFL history. Chuck Noll having 4. Conference titles, 9 wins, resulting in Super Bowl appearances. Incredible. So he's stacked against legends like Don Shula, Vince Lombardi, Chuck Noll, Bill Walsh, and he has the best resume out of all of these guys. So the idea of him falling short is just it's ludicrous. And yeah, go ahead.
I'm not saying it's right, but the reasoning behind it is called Deflategate and Spygate.
Yeah.
And I mean, whatever your opinions are of it, obviously at least 11 NFL media personnel, writers had strong opinions about it. And that's clear. I mean, Bill Polian's been the cheerleader behind Bill Belichick's not the greatest coach and blah, 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 blah. And he came out and said he voted for Bill Belichick too, which I don't know that I necessarily believe because he's always had that chip on his shoulder. Sure. But I mean, those 2 scandals, if you will, or whatever you want to call them, are the reasons probably that he did not get inducted as a first ballot Hall of Famer. Does that make it right? No. I mean, I don't care. It's the same. And we look at it, it's these freaking nerdy pencil pushers who never could have been players themselves, who sit back there and judge. And it's the same reason why Barry Bonds is in Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. And he was the greatest, to this day, the greatest baseball player to have ever played. Ohtani has a good chance to pass him just because of his dual threat ability. But Barry Bonds deserves to be in Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. Whatever you think of the steroid era, it was an era. We call it an era, and he was the best during that era when everyone else was doing it also, and it writes the story of baseball. You can't talk about baseball without Barry Bonds. You can't talk about NFL without Bill Belichick at this point in time. Yep. He has created history, and it's a travesty. It's sad, and it's pathetic little people who have some sort of vendetta not voting what they know is right just to try to stick it to the man. It's wrong, and they should be they should find out. It should be public knowledge who everyone votes for. And if you do something this egregious, you shouldn't be allowed to vote. Like, take the vote away. If you are an NFL writer and you think that Bill Belichick doesn't belong in the NFL Hall of Fame first ballot, you shouldn't be allowed to vote because you're just I didn't want to curse, but an idiot.
Yeah, so you brought it up right there. Politics, the bias. So in theory, how the Hall of Fame is supposed to work, it's about the impact, achievement, the historical significance. So voters are tasked with evaluating candidates' full body of work, not recency bias, personal feelings, or off-field optics. All right, so first ballot induction is meant to signify a player or coach whose credentials leave no reasonable doubt, right? That definition alone should be a slam dunk in terms of Bill Belichick getting into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I don't think that there's any other non-player or even player other than Tom Brady in NFL history that fits that description better than Bill Belichick.
No.
So
it should be made public. Your vote,
and like you said, they shouldn't have a vote. So I mean, that was there's a lot of heat, right? Pro Football Hall of Fame releases a statement, basically says that they can remove voters who violated those bylaws. And as soon as they do that, Terrell Owens is like, where was this letter when I kept getting snubbed trying to get in the Hall of Fame? Chris Carter was saying the same thing. Like, they're not wrong. I mean, sometimes you got these writers that just didn't like certain players, and some of that happens. So, I mean, something that the Pro Football Hall of Fame is going to have to look at as far as their voting process. And then let's flip to another topic, the Pro Bowl. Okay, so we just had the Pro Bowl.
Halftime show.
We're not going to go. We're going to stick with Pro Bowl here. So we just had the Pro Bowl, right?
Did we?
Well, so we have the games, right? The Pro Bowl games, So Pro Bowl, it's kind of lost its meaning as far as what, the product is. We're playing flag football. We're doing different games instead of actually playing the football game, right? You don't have Adrian Peterson out there trying to crush somebody.
Sean Taylor breaking collarbones of punters.
Yeah. So none of that happened anymore, right? But we still have the Pro Bowl. Those are bonuses in the individual's contract. You got players that are opting out left and right. And then we have the egregious, we saw it with several players, but their voting process, is different between how the Pro Bowl works. And we saw, because of fan vote and kind of popularity, we saw Shedeur Sanders get selected. So Shedeur gets into the Pro Bowl, and he threw 7 touchdowns and 10 interceptions and played for part of the season. We saw Joe Flacco so we saw Joe Flacco and Joe Burrow. Neither of them played the majority of their team's season, and again got into the Pro Bowl for the AFC. It's embarrassing, and I'm not saying that Joe Burrow's not worthy of being in a Pro Bowl, but not this one, not with this season's stats. And you probably have an escalator in somebody's contract that was probably really deserving this year on the AFC side of the house that didn't get in. And then you saw recently, I saw an invite was sent to Justin Fields that he turned down for the Pro Bowl games. And it's just like, Justin Fields, he got benched, twice, for his team this year. And you're gonna ask him to be part of the Pro Bowl. It's just embarrassing, So when you look at stats or you look at achievements in a player, and now they're getting looked at for the Pro Football Hall of Fame, you could look at an individual like Marshall Faulk. And say, hey, he was selected for X number of Pro Bowls, and be like, that's impressive. You take a look at Shedeur Sanders in 10 years, and let's just say he got invited to 8 Pro Bowls. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, no.
Nothing.
It means something different, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a serious issue, and I actually saw Sean Marion talking about it.
Yeah.
And he was like, I walked by my Pro Bowl selection, whatever it was,
the helmet.
Every day, and now he's like, and now I look at this, and it's like, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything anymore, and I get that it's in you can't play the full game because of player safety and this, that, and the other, and players weren't taking it serious, and the NBA All-Star very similar. So either figure something else out. I mean, hockey figured it out. Let's be honest. The NHL figured it out. The 4 nations. I mean, you can't do that in the NFL. I get that because there's not 4 nations, but you could do.
Sure.
I mean, you could run it back, and you could do like guys who like where they came out of high school, right? And you could on regions of the country. If you did something like that, let me tell you something. As someone who lives in Florida and played high school football in Florida, I stand up proud and say there's no better state and there's no better region of the country than the Southeast when it comes to high school players coming out. And you want to prove it, then you got a Midwest team, then you got a whatever, you know what I mean? That'd be pretty cool if you do something like that and put that together. And those players would be proud to try to represent their region, I guarantee you. What that would look like as far as like, are you going in shells? Or are you doing like full on? I don't know. I just thought of that off the top of my head. But instead of that, like just until you can figure it out, I say axe the whole thing. Like if you want to have some fun get together in Orlando for players to do funny games, fine. But don't make it count toward bonuses and just add a third team all pro. So you got first, second, and third team all-pro, and if you make one of the all-pros, you can tier your bonuses based on that. And I think that solves it. Call it a day. No one wants to sit here and watch professional NFL players play dodgeball. Like no one cares. I'm sorry.
I don't want to see on Shadur Sanders' resume that he was a 2025 Pro Bowler.
No, get out of here.
You know, so I mean, I don't know. You know, put something on there. I mean, you can say, hey, Pro Bowl games. Right. You know, but as far as a Pro Bowl selectee, select the Pro Bowl, you know, I don't know. I mean, why are we selecting Pro Bowl?
That's what I said.
I mean, they got different meanings, right? So the All Pro is really what means anything, right?
Yes.
Is if you were selected to be the All Pro. Will Reichard was an All Pro, first team All Pro kicker, right? Why the hell wasn't he on the Pro Bowl? You know, instead it's Brandon Aubrey, which you know, still a very good kicker,
right?
But stat wise, it was hard to argue. You know, that Will Reichard was, you know, the better kicker. I mean, and one can even make an argument that Eddie Pinheiro had a better kicking season than Brandon Aubrey did.
Yeah,
but when you add in, you know, the fan vote, you're now letting in the opportunity, and you see it on social media all the time. You know, hey, retweet this. You know, so if you got a fan base or you got people that are really pushing the votes, I mean, you're affecting who's a Pro Bowl selectee. So it's kind of really losing its meaning. So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much, I mean, we're looking at an hour 23 right now. Anything else you guys got?
No, I'm good.
I'm good.
All right. Hey, Pro Bowl score prediction real quick. You guys want to take a stab? We all took the Seahawks.
Super Bowl score?
You just said Pro Bowl.
Sorry. Super Bowl score prediction.
I'll go with the 28-24 Seattle.
Woo. All right. I can't pick the same thing, even though I told you I kind of like that score.
That's why I took it.
Yeah, well, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go 31-23 Seattle.
23-21 Seattle.
All right. So, you know, side bet, right? Between the three of us, as far as what we think the score is going to be.
The playoff record goes completely out the window if one of us gets the actual score of the Super Bowl. They are the overall.
Here comes the Hail Mary, right? Let's see. Let's just throw this up here.
It's way harder to predict the score of
one last time.
It is.
One last time. All right. No, I
hey, we all had a winning record.
One week, I specifically just picked against you guys to try to catch up. Like, let's keep that in mind.
Nah, I'm just giving you some guff. All right, so that's all we really have for Fantasy 15. And again, real quick, make sure that you're following us. Check out our new website, fantasy15football.com. Follow us on X, YouTube. Search for us with Fantasy 15 FB at Fantasy 15 FB or just Fantasy 15 Fantasy Football, and you should be able to find us. Google us. And check out our new website and our Fantasy 15 fan chat. Please make sure that you do that and support us with everything that we are doing. But good luck, have fun, and have a safe, be responsible, but have fun. have some good food, watch the Super Bowl, good game coming up, and again, make us your source for fantasy football going into 2026. Look for new updates that we're going to have coming your way. We're going to have some off-season podcasts as well too. So check out our articles on the website that Mark, Ryan, and I are writing. And for Fantasy 15, this is Ryan, Mark, and Steve. And thank you so much for watching and supporting us. So make us your source for fantasy football. We're out here. See you guys. Thanks, Ryan. Thanks, Mark.